I want to be very clear before this starts.
This is not financial advice. This is not a tutorial. And this is not a success story.
At least not yet. This is a record. A real-time record of a decision I made that most people would probably tell me not to talk about publicly. A few months ago, I lost my job. No dramatic blow-up. No shouting. No final speech. Just a meeting. A sentence. And suddenly, the version of my life I had planned around stopped existing. For years, I had done what you're supposed to do. I worked a stable job. I collected a predictable paycheck. I contributed to a 401k that I told myself I wouldn't touch until I was old enough for it to matter. It was background money, invisible money, the kind of money you pretend doesn't exist so you don't make emotional decisions. And then, one day, the paycheck disappeared. And suddenly, the 401k wasn't theoretical anymore. It was real. And so was the clock. Day one of unemployment. The first few days after getting fired are strange. You're not panicking yet. You're still in shock. Your routines are gone, but the bills haven't arrived yet. You still feel like this is temporary, but then the math starts creeping in. Rent, utilities, insurance, groceries, and in my case, other investments I had already committed to. Right before all of this happened, I had put money into a Shopify coffee brand. It's registered as an LLC. It looks legitimate on paper. In reality, it's bleeding. And I knew that before I ever touched the 401k. So when people ask, why didn't you just wait? The honest answer is, waiting wasn't neutral. Waiting was still losing money. The forbidden option. There's a reason people call retirement accounts untouchable. You're trained not to look at them, not to factor them into your present life, not to even think of them as usable. Penalties, taxes, regret stories. Every article online says the same thing. Do not cash out your 401k unless you have absolutely no other choice. But here's the part no one puts in those articles. A retirement account only matters if you make it to retirement without running out of money first. That's the quiet truth. And once that thought entered my head, I couldn't unthink it. Why YouTube even entered the conversation? This wasn't a random idea. I've been watching YouTube closely for years. Not casually, analytically. I noticed something most people overlook. A massive number of channels are faceless, system-driven, run by teams, and quietly profitable. They weren't influencers. They weren't personalities. They were machines. And the more I looked at them, the more one idea kept resurfacing. YouTube channels behave like digital assets. They have traffic history authority, monetization, existing audiences. And just like websites, businesses, or even rental properties, some of them can be bought. That's where the idea crossed a dangerous line. What if instead of starting from zero, I bought channels that already existed? What if I skipped the hardest part, getting attention, and focused on optimization instead? And then came the question that wouldn't leave me alone. What if this works? Or worse, what if it doesn't? The moment the money became real, cashing out the 401k didn't feel exciting. It felt wrong. There's no dopamine hit when you do it. Just paperwork, waiting, and a slow realization that you can't undo it once it clears. When the money hit my account, I didn't feel confident. I felt exposed. Because now, this wasn't an idea anymore. It was capital. And capital demands decisions. The portfolio I bought, I didn't buy one YouTube channel. I bought 4. Each one in a different niche. Each one with its own history, strengths, and problems. These weren't massive channels, but they weren't empty either. They were what I call starter assets. Channels that already had momentum, but also visible decay. And almost immediately, one channel stood out from the rest. Insider Military. They anchored. The largest channel I bought is called Insider Military. When I took over, it already had tens of thousands of subscribers and millions of lifetime views. This was a channel I quietly hoped would carry everything else if things went sideways. Fast forward to the last 28 days. Here are the exact numbers. 107,045 views, 6,000 watch hours, plus 204 subscribers, $22.87 in revenue. Let that sit for a moment. Over 100,000 views and less than $23 earned. That's not a typo. This is what people don't understand about YouTube when they look at view counts without context. Views don't pay bills, RPM does. And military news content, especially global conflict content, attracts a massive audience that advertisers don't pay well for. And military is stable. But stability doesn't mean safety. Cinema V2, underperforming expectations. The next channel is Cinema V2. This one hurt more emotionally than financially, because on paper, it should work. In the last 28 days, Cinema V2 posted 396 views, 355.4 watch hours, plus 13 subscribers, $24.50 in revenue. Views were below its usual range. Watch time was down. Subscriber growth slowed. What this tells me is simple and uncomfortable. This channel isn't dead, but it's not healthy either. It needs direction. And right now, it doesn't have one. Dark lore, a false sense of stability. Then there's dark lore. On the surface, this channel looks fine. In the last 28 days, 475 views, 663.6 watch hours, plus 68 subscribers, $36.28 in revenue. Everything is labeled about the same as usual. That sounds reassuring, but when you zoom out, and I mean really zoom out, a different story appears. Lifetime analytics show a massive spike in mid-2025, followed by a long, slow decline. Right now, 83% of viewers are new, and regular viewers are almost non-existent. This channel doesn't have an audience, it has traffic events. And that's a dangerous thing to confuse with growth. Invention Flex, the outlier. Finally, there's Invention Flex. This channel surprised me. In the last 28 days, 467 views, 200 watch hours, plus 304 subscribers, $42.55 in revenue. It's outperforming expectations. And most of that growth is coming from shorts. Lifetime Shorts analytics show 50.6K views, 34.6K engaged views, 946 likes, plus 92 subscribers. That sounds great, but shorts come with a hidden problem. Shorts inflate numbers without building loyalty. And loyalty is what pays long term. The number nobody wants to say out loud across all 4 channels, total revenue for the last 28 days, sits at roughly $126.20. That's not profit. Because every single month, I'm spending between $2,000 and $2,500 editors, writers, management, systems. Whether views go up or down, that money leaves my account every month. This is not passive income. This is pressure. Where this is really heading. At this point, I don't feel smart. I don't feel brave. I feel exposed. Because now, the numbers are real. The timeline is real. And the margin for error is thin. This video isn't about proving this was the right decision. It's about documenting what happens next. In the next part of this documentary, I'm going to do something most creators avoid. I'm going to break down December versus January, channel by channel, using exact analytics. No hype, no spin, just what actually changed and what didn't. Because optimism doesn't keep the lights on. Data does. Up to this point, everything you've heard could still be written off as theory. A bad month, a transition period, growing pains. That's what people say when they don't want to look too closely. So instead of guessing, I decided to do something simple and terrifying. I pulled the analytics, not cherry-picked screenshots, not highlight reels, actual performance data. And I compared December to January, channel by channel, no narratives, no optimism. Just numbers. Incital military, high traffic, low reward. I want to start with Incital military because this channel defines the entire experiment. This is the largest channel in the portfolio, the one with the most authority, the one that's supposed to keep everything afloat if the others stumble. Last 28 days, January, 107,045 views, 6,000 watch hours, plus 204 subscribers, $22.87 in revenue. On paper, YouTube labels this as about the same as usual. And technically, that's true. The channel typically pulls between 45,000 and 150,000 views per month, so nothing is wrong. But here's the problem. The RPM reality. Let's do the math. $22.87 divided by 107,045 views. That's an RPM so low it barely exists. This channel is operating at news level monetization, which means advertisers avoid it. CPMs fluctuate wildly. Conflict-based content gets limited demand. The audience is large, but not valuable. And that's a brutal realization, because scale doesn't save you if the underlying economics are broken. The lifetime trap, lifetime analytics, tell an even more uncomfortable story. 900 monthly audience plus 800 total subscribers. Sounds impressive, until you look at when that growth happened. There was a massive spike mid-2025, followed by a sharp drop. Since then, the channel has flattened. Right now, 90.1% of viewers are new. Regular viewers are under 0.1%. That means almost no one comes back. This channel doesn't have a loyal audience. It has recurring spikes of attention. That's not an asset. That's volatility disguised as scale. Cinema V2. When a channel loses its identity next, is Cinema V2. This is the channel I expected to be stable. Entertainment content usually monetizes better. Longer watch times. Broader advertiser interest. But January didn't cooperate. Last 28 days. January 12. 396 views, 355.4 watch hours, plus 13 subscribers, $24.50 in revenue. YouTube explicitly labels this as below usual performance. Views were down by over 5,000 compared to its typical range. Watch time dropped by 744 hours. This isn't a dip, it's erosion. Shorts are lying to me. When I switched to lifetime shorts analytics, things look better. 84, 700 views, 54. 900 engaged views, 2,000 likes, plus 142 subscribers. At first glance, that looks like momentum. But then you look at how people found the content. 94.5% from the shorts feed. That means almost no search, almost no suggested traffic, almost no intentional viewing. People didn't choose this channel, it passed in front of them. And as fast as shorts give attention, they take it away. The core problem, Cinema V2 doesn't have a content problem, it has an identity problem. Right now, it doesn't know whether it's a documentary channel, a nostalgia channel, a news channel, or a shorts factory. And YouTube punishes confusion hard. Dark lore, the illusion of stability. Now let's talk about dark lore. This channel is the most deceptive of all four, because at a glance, it looks fine. Last 28 days, January 15, 475 views, 663.6 watch hours, plus 68 subscribers, $36.28 in revenue. Everything says about the same as usual. No red arrows, no warning signs. But the danger isn't in January, it's in the lifetime curve. What the lifetime graph reveals, in mid-2025, dark lore exploded. A handful of videos went viral, massive spikes, huge attention, and then silence. Since that peak, the channel has been slowly declining. Not crashing, fading. Right now, audience composition looks like this. 83.2% new viewers, 16.4% casual viewers, 0.3% regular viewers. That number should terrify anyone trying to build a long-term business. Because regular viewers are the foundation. They're the ones who click without thumbnails, watch longer, drive recommendations, increase RPM. Without them, every upload starts from zero. What? Misjudged. I thought I was buying a channel with lore. In reality, I bought a channel with moments. And moments don't compound. Invention flex. Growth with an asterisk. Finally, there's invention flex. This is the channel everyone points to and says, see, it's working. And in some ways it is. Last 28 days. January 30, 467 views, 200 watch hours, plus 304 subscribers, $42.55 in revenue. This is the strongest month in the entire portfolio. No question. But context matters, where the growth is actually coming from. Lifetime Shorts analytics show 50, 600 views, 34, 600 engaged views, 946 likes, plus 92 subscribers. Most of the recent growth is Shorts driven. And Shorts behave differently than long form. They spike quickly, convert poorly, create weak loyalty, generate low revenue. Shorts are attention. Long form is trust. And trust is what pays. The risk. I'm watching closely. If Shorts stop performing tomorrow, what's left? Right now, Invention Flex looks healthy, but it hasn't proven it can survive without algorithmic momentum. That makes it promising and fragile. The portfolio as a whole. Now I want to zoom out. Across all 4 channels in the last 28 days. Total views, 165,000. Total revenue, $126.20. Monthly operating cost, $2,000 to $2,500. That's not a rounding error. That's a structural problem. And it means one thing. Time is the real opponent. This experiment doesn't fail because views drop. It fails if conversion doesn't improve before the runway ends. I don't need virality. I need sustainability. And right now, only one channel is even pointing in that direction. And even that one comes with an asterisk. What I can't pretend anymore. I can't pretend views equal success, subscribers equal loyalty, or that YouTube automatically rewards effort. The algorithm doesn't care about intention. It cares about behavior. And the behavior in these analytics is sending a clear message. In the final part of this documentary, I'm going to confront the hardest question of all. Did I buy assets or did I buy illusions? I'll break down lifetime performance, audience behavior, Shorts versus long form, and the decisions I now regret making. Because this isn't about whether this was brave or stupid. It's about whether it's salvageable. Up until now, everything has been framed around months. December, January, the last 28 days. But short windows can lie. So before I let myself believe anything, good or bad, I force myself to look at something much harder to face. Lifetime data, not performance snapshots. Not temporary spikes. But the full story. Because if these channels are truly assets, they should tell a consistent story over time. And this is where the illusion really starts to crack. Lifetime analytics, the autopsy. I want to go back to dark lore, because this channel taught me the most painful lesson. When you pull the lifetime audience graph, something becomes obvious immediately. There's a sharp rise in mid-2025, a dramatic peak, and then a long, slow decline. This wasn't growth. It was a moment. 3 videos drove the majority of the channel's lifetime attention. After that moment passed, the audience didn't stay. And that's when it hit me. I didn't buy a channel with momentum. I bought the after image of virality. Why this matters more than revenue? People obsess over monetization numbers. But revenue is downstream from behavior. What actually matters is this. Do viewers come back? Do they watch more than one video? Do they recognize the channel as a destination? On dark lore, the answer is no. With 0.3% regular viewers, every upload starts cold. No memory, no loyalty, no compounding. That means every video has to fight the algorithm from scratch. That's not leverage. That's exhaustion. Incido military, authority without attachment. Now let's talk about Incido military again. Because this channel looks powerful until you look closer. Lifetime audience data shows massive spikes during specific global events, followed by steep drop-offs, followed by flatlines. And when I checked audience composition, it explained everything. Over 90% of viewers are new. Almost no one returns. This channel isn't something people follow. It's something people stumble into when the world is on fire. That means traffic is event-driven. And event-driven traffic is unpredictable. When the news cycle cools, so does the channel. That's not stability. That's dependency. Cinema V2. Attention without direction. Cinema V2 heard in a different way. Lifetime Shorts data shows huge view counts, spikes that look impressive in isolation. But when you overlay that with long-form performance, there's a disconnect. Shorts viewers don't migrate, they swipe. They don't subscribe with intention. They don't build watch history. They don't increase session depth. And because of that, the channel doesn't develop gravity. Nothing pulls people deeper. I didn't buy a brand. I bought fragments of attention. Invention flex, the only glimmer of compounding. If there's one channel that still gives me cautious optimism, it's Invention Flex. Not because it's making money, it isn't, but because behavior is different. Watch time is climbing. Subscribers are converting at a higher rate. Long form and shorts are at least talking to each other. This channel feels like it could become something, but could doesn't pay bills, and hope doesn't extend a runway. The burn rate, where theory meets reality. Now I need to say the part most people leave out. Every single month, these channels cost between $2,000 and $2. 500 editors, writers, management, infrastructure. And that number doesn't care about performance. It leaves my account whether a video flops or goes viral. Meanwhile, total revenue across all 4 channels last month was $126.20. That's not a dip. That's not early days. That's a mismatch. And mismatches don't fix themselves. The weight I didn't expect. There's something I didn't anticipate when I started this. The emotional load. This isn't just my money. My wife is about to be out of work for several months. The Shopify coffee brand I invested in is still losing money. And suddenly, every decision carries more weight than it did on paper. Every thumbnail, every upload, every invoice. This isn't experimentation anymore. It's responsibility. What I got wrong, I need to say this plainly. I misunderstood what I was buying. I thought I was buying systems. In reality, I bought algorithms, audience fragments, and historical luck. I assumed past performance implied future leverage. It doesn't. On YouTube, history expires. What this has taught me so far, here's the hardest truth I've learned up to this point. YouTube channels are not assets by default. They only become assets when audiences return, watch time compounds, revenue scales with views. Without that, they're liabilities with good branding. Where this leaves me now, right now, I'm standing at a fork in the road. I can keep funding everything and hope optimization saves it. Cut channels that aren't salvageable or fundamentally change strategy. But pretending this is going fine would be dishonest. It isn't. Not yet. While I'm still documenting this, I could stop recording right now. I could quietly make changes, spin the narrative later, only show results if things turn around. But that defeats the point. Because when everything is hidden, it's easy to lie to yourself. When it's public, you're forced to face reality. The question I can't avoid. So here's the question I'm sitting with right now. Not for the audience, for myself. Did I buy assets? Or did I buy time-limited illusions that only look valuable because someone else already extracted the upside? I don't know the answer yet. And that's the truth. What happens next? This is not the end of the experiment, but it is the end of the honeymoon. The next phase will involve hard decisions, cutting costs, changing formats, possibly walking away from channels I believed in. And I'm going to document all of it. Not because it's inspiring, but because it's real. This was episode 1. Not a victory, not a failure. Just the truth at the moment, it became impossible to ignore. If you stay for what comes next, you'll see exactly what I do. And why? Because from here on out, every move has consequences. And there's no pretending that this didn't happen.